Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for your ROH post show and your TNA post show for March 28th. And boy, oh boy, I think TNA might have won this one. I don't know. This was a rough episode considering we are a week before a pay-per-view. Very frustrating to see some old habits not dying hard, but rather creeping their way back in as we head towards Supercard. But I am joined by Reg to help me through this one. I was cranky when I signed on, and he said, Kate, we're going to get through this. You and me, we're going to do it together. Reg, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Kate. We are very close to WrestleMania weekend. My life just consists of Philly things. And Ring of Honor, they don't know that, I think. I don't think they know that next week they have a really big show, Supercard of Honor. A pretty good card they got going here, but building to this, they just forgot how to do it. Frustrating is a word that we use to describe coming into this, Kate, because we've talked for many weeks on this pod. We were excited for a while there. Like, there were developments, there were things going on. And then our champions got lost and things got lost in the shuffle. We had a really good women's tournament. I enjoyed it. Got a lot of great matches, a lot of great story development. And then today.
See what happened was you left for 3 weeks and they gave up. They were like, Reg isn't around. We're not even going to try. We live and die by Reg's investment. But guys, please leave a thumbs up on this video if you would be so kind. Helps people find us in the algorithms and get in those super chats. If you have anything that you want to comment on going into Supercard of Honor, we will keep you posted on what our schedule for next week is going to be. My thinking is we'll probably just do a Supercard show live and recap the go home episode before, but we'll let you know if that is not the case, or if it is the case, we will make sure that you are aware. We'll also take this time to remind you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the business. The best 5. You got all sorts of good stuff behind there. You get me and Alex Pulowski doing reviews and playing video games, and Sean randomly coming on to talk about Road Trip. I don't know why that started, but it did happen. You get all sorts of scoops back there. Contract news. There's going to be more coming up. News on Mustafa Ali. Plenty of stuff on the TNA side, actually. Killer Kelly got some clarification around her contract, and plenty more. Sean's also going to be at Squared Circle Expo, getting more information for you guys, also participating there. So stay tuned for that and more on Fightful Select. Also includes Ask Rhapsody, which happens every other week, and I believe happened this week, correct?
It didn't happen today because I'm in preparation again for Philly, but every other week you can catch that. Maybe there'll be something live next week for that too. I'm going to be with Phil for like 5 days straight. Nobody knows. That's why you got to subscribe.
That's what's up. Subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Ask Rhapsody every other week. Not just wrestling talk, a lot of other hoops talk, hip-hop talk, all sorts of fun stuff. So stay tuned with that. A Shock reminding us in the chat that AJ Francis signed with TNA. That went up on Fightful Select earlier. So if you're interested in the back half of the show of TNA, there's a lot of TNA scoop skis on Fightful Select for you this week, as always. But Reg, this episode was an effing mess. This was awful. It's never an in-ring quality issue. Kyle Fletcher versus Blake Christian ruled. JD Drake and Uno, blast. Fine. Diamante and Kiera Hogan, who seem familiar with each other, I'll put it that way, they tore it down. Super fun. Any sort of creative effort and consistency around this product would set it on fire. It was great for a few months. The lack of champions is absolutely hampering this product. Like, over and over and over again, we had one story with Ethan Page that just got completely abandoned, it seems like. I have no idea what the heck is going on there. I do know he's healthy. He's my X-Night Wrestling champion. He's wrestling at A1 and all these other places. What the heck is going on with this product? We saw backsliding from things like Top Flight. I don't know what roster they're on. I don't know what division they work in. What is happening? We had so much clarity for a while, and then it just seems to have disappeared. I found today's episode particularly frustrating, not only because it feels like we're backsliding as a product, but we're so close to Supercard, and what? Did you have the same frustrations that I did? Because this drove me nuts today.
Yeah, only reason that I'm excited about Supercard is because of the matches that they announced, but like no story reason at all. It's just like, I'm going to love Mark Briscoe and Eddie Kingston because they're two great wrestlers. Great backstory going into that. Athena and Shida is going to be insane. That Stardom match that they announced, I'm frothing at the mouth or how exciting that's going to be. But everything there, that's the only reason. There's like, they haven't told me why I should be excited about this. I'm just excited about it because I really love wrestling. And that's not really something you want to do when you have the resources. We have this show. You could be building to all kinds of things. We could have the champions on display. There could be reasons for people to care and want to watch this show and care about this brand, but they're not really giving them reasons to.
It's wildly frustrating, especially because outside of the women, there just have not been champions around. Kyle Fletcher, I understand there was a visa issue. Even when Eddie Kingston and Mark Briscoe are around, they're not actually on the program for the most part, right? Like, nothing has been built there. The pure title has just been on Wheeler Yuta, who's been unable to compete for literally months now. The tag team champions, we're going to talk about what they're setting up for that out of nowhere, which I think is not good. Your 6-man champions, all
Who
right.
are they? Name them right now, Kate.
It's Bullet Club Gold, but the hell if I would know that if I was watching ROH, they've literally never been on it. It's just not good, and it makes it stakeless to one of the most sports presentation-based brands. Now, the frustrating thing is, if you're just looking for an hour plus of wrestling, this episode ruled. There were so many good matches on it. Mm-hmm. So we do get to talk about those, and I'm looking forward to it. But if this is the episode we're getting a week before a pay-per-view, it just feels like an insult to subscribers' time. I'm glad that they're giving away this pay-per-view within Honor Club because people would be canceling left and right, I feel like, if that wasn't the case. But we do open with, again, so many like one step forward, one step back. We're doing a lot of dancing on ROH, but Athena in a great match with Nikita. It was a proving ground match. Still waiting for someone to win a proving ground match because nothing is ever proven here. But Athena with a dominant win. Some really nice stuff in this. A beautiful float over suplex that we had. Winning with this nasty submission, like this figure 4 face lock, whatever this was, unreal. The face lock's looking really, really good in this match as well. And I say it every week about Ian and Caprice, but one thing that I really loved in this was, and Ian has gone out of his way to do this, when he talks about Athena's reign, he puts it in the same breath as Nigel McGuinness, Bryan Danielson. And to me, that means a lot that it's not like women's wrestling is its own unicorn thing. She's as successful of a champion as them, so she should be ranked in the same way. And he just does it with this, can't believe this is a phrase I am going to say, an effortless respect. Like, it doesn't feel like it's out of its way at all. It's just the way he delivers his commentary is she's as good of a wrestler as these guys, and they all belong in the same category. So I just really love that he does that when he talks about her. I also really liked what we saw from Nikita in this match. I kind of wish she proved her ground because I would like to see her again, but a quick spot after the match where Athena, up to her dastardly deeds as always, goes to put Nikita in a tree of woe, and Shida runs her down with the kendo stick. Didn't particularly love that either because this isn't the go home, and that just doesn't feel ROH-ish to me. That feels AEW-ish to me. ROH, to me, I still want that more sports feel than this, like, you did something to someone else, so I'm going to run you off thing. Doesn't feel great to me. So loved what we got in ring. Didn't love everything around it. I do love Shida's look with the blonde hair and the suit. Killing it. She's beautiful. And I'm very excited for the match, but the framework around it, not so much for me. What did you think of our opener here?
I thought it was a really good match. Nikita looked good in their proving ground match. Didn't prove her ground, like you said, really funny. Athena, though, this is kind of, what we should kind of be seeing going into this match with Shida, I think, is like Athena with her facial. She kind of looks like she's not sure of herself. She kind of looks like she doesn't know exactly what she's going to do going into this match with Shida, but still beating somebody up and showing that when it's go time, I can do my thing. Shida coming in to make the save. I think it's all really good work. That's like probably like the most inoffensive thing of the show. I think of like they're building to this championship match. They're not getting physical going into it. Maybe next week they'll get physical to get us right into the match at the pay-per-view. But yeah, I thought it was just like Athena's here. She's showing something. She's telling some stories, but she'll still beat your ass when it's time to start the show. Nikita, though, looked great. I'd like to see some more of her.
Agreed. I would like to see more of her too. I thought she was excellent in this. Really impressive stuff. I would like someone in a proving ground match to prove their ground. It almost seems like we've gotten so far into it that it feels like if someone proved their ground, they would almost have to be like a surprise upset win for the title or something, because there's been so many instances where people haven't. C. Delgado with a nice chat here saying, got to see two champs at least. Your bangs are great. We did get to see two champions on the show tonight. Kind of sad that is noteworthy. Champion saying, good evening, Sexy Shark and Mama Wayne's lover. Man, if she's like at Wally Mania or something, or if she's in Philly, whoo.
I don't. Just if you see me, Kate, take me somewhere, lock me in a closet, a room or something, because I know I'll be full of Hennessy and marijuana and things, and just help.
I gotta tell you something. I'm a great wing woman.
See, no, this is the opposite, Kate.
I know it's bad. It's bad because here's the thing, like, girls trust other girlies. So I know if there is a guy who is a well-intending dude and interested in someone, like, I will help a well-intending dude that's interested in someone. And you can do a lot worse than Righteous Red.
Lock me up, Kate. Lock me up. Find a closet and be like, oh, go in there. There's more Hennessy and more weed in there. And then I'll run in there and then you just lock it behind me.
Just go in that direction.
It's the only way.
I am but an enabler when I know there are well-intending people involved. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll leave it up to the gods of love and see what happens with Mother Wayne. But that was our opening match, and a nice little, I think we're doing a better job building to Philly now, you and me. It's like now you have a story going into Philly.
I got a story, yes.
You got a story, and we'll see. We're going to build to it next week. We'll find out what happens in Philly. I like it.
Pretty good.
We do later get a backstage with Shida. I don't know if I loved this either. I do love her basically saying that she was like kind of bored with a lack of competition, that she's already gone through Saraya and Toni Storm and all these people. And so she needed something to do. This like holy Shida has arrived thing feels so not who she is to me. Like, it's a cute t-shirt. I get it. I don't think I need it to be like her catchphrase, but everything in this was well delivered. Everything in it made sense. It just doesn't feel like her character to me. But I am very excited for this match. I am sincerely intrigued by it because I feel like Shida and ROH would be awesome. Like, I would love to see an extended run from Shida. It doesn't feel like they have anything for Athena to get called up into on the main roster, though. I don't want her just floating around in a women's division that's doing really well right now. So I feel like this could go either way. My guess is Athena retains, just because I don't know there's nothing obvious for her as far as the next step goes. What did you think of the Shida promo, and what do you think we're going to get at Supercard?
Yeah, the Holy Shida thing kind of feels like we need Shida to have a catchphrase, and it's like, I think she can have a catchphrase, and I like the catchphrase, but I don't know if I like her saying the catchphrase. It feels a little bit, feels weird. I don't know. I didn't like
She's
it
just such a badass. Like, that's like a Kate level pun. Like, you as a wrestler, you should not be saying things that I would say on the
like,
show.
Shida's so cool, such a badass. It's like, you don't have to say that, Shida. We know you're cool, you're badass, you're all this. But I do like her doing the promo. I do like her getting time to express herself and show, yo, I'm here. I've been learning English. I'm Shida. You guys all love me. I'm the Shida that you know, and I'm going to be here to do it. As far as the outcome, though, Kate, I'm kind of on the same thing that you're on. It's like it could go either way. Like, Athena, the most sense says for Athena to kind of stay champion, because there's not really many stories that come with Shida being here. I think will be great, and if she's established here, it'll be awesome. But I mean, Shida being up there makes more sense because I want to see her with Mercedes. There's still so many things she could do on the main AEW show that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But if she does win the Ring of Honor Championship, there's a lot of great women here on this roster that I think she'd have incredibly talented, incredibly awesome matches with. So it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. I just don't know what the outcome is at all. This is like the most like, which way could it go? I think going into a lot of these Supercard of Honor matches or a lot of these Athena matches, it's been like, maybe this is the time. Like Athena's probably ran her course, but this time I don't really feel like that. So I don't know.
I do feel like I'm in this weird place with Athena's reign because I just don't know where else it can go. And that's not a discredit to her work. It's not a discredit to how they kind of made her the face in the Nyla Rose feud. I thought she did an unbelievable job telling stories that way and like having somebody kind of get to her. But it just feels like how much more dominant can she get before people start to check out on it a little bit? And I think we're kind of getting closer to that tipping point. She's always impressive in the ring. I loved seeing her tonight, but like the inevitability part kicking in is starting to dampen my enjoyment of it a little bit. I don't want them to overstay their welcome with this reign because it's been so incredible and historic and done so much for the division and for Athena herself that I don't think she drops to Shida, but I think it should be sooner than later. And maybe Billy wins the TV title and that pisses her off and she has to go win that after she's lost or whatever. Like, I think there needs to be some evolution for Athena somewhere, and I think it should be on the main roster. I don't understand why that wouldn't be the case other than it's getting kind of crowded up there.
Right.
But hey, I hated this. Colt Karter and Griff Garrison with Maria Kanellis.
Up next is something nobody cared about.
Yeah, because of them. Because they haven't done any work around this in a very long time. But they're facing Jordynne and Victor Castella, who were hometown favorites where they were taping and looked good in this. It feels like they just remembered that Maria manages two guys and that her husband is in a tag team that has the titles right now. You wouldn't know it watching the program, but it feels like they just remembered that this is a thing and that they want to heat it up now because we haven't seen Colt Karter or Griff Garrison doing anything meaningful. Kind of, I mean, you could make the argument ever. Like they haven't really strung together wins consistently at all, and definitely not in a very long time. Feels like they just wanted to heat this up for the story. I don't know if this is going to be our tag team defense at Supercard, but woof. I hope not. Feels like it'll probably be like a four corners triple threat, blah, blah, blah. But man, it was hard for me to have an interest in this because it just feels like out of nowhere, they were like, oh, remember these guys? And I was like, yes. And they weren't working and you've made no adjustments with them. Like it hasn't clicked in. You need to find better creative for them. They're fine in the ring. They're exactly fine in the ring. I don't know. I don't know how they can be expected to get better without reps and creative that suits them better. Like if you're trying to develop, then you have to do the work to develop them. But this ends with Karter knocking Jordynne off the apron with this little double team move, and they get the pin here. Very short match, decent enough match. I wasn't invested in them anyway because it wasn't clicking for me, and now I'm not invested because they were off screen and they've made absolutely no adjustments with them. I don't get it. I know you're a huge Colt Karter fan though, and this was your favorite tag team of all time. So if I feel like that, like if I'm at that level of frustration, you were checked out on them before I was. So I can't imagine, but it's like you brought them back I'm so jarred by tonight's episode, and this was one of the things. Like, hey, now you're supposed to care about them, but you shouldn't ignore the fact that Ethan Page has been gone for a month after accruing a bunch of wins, calling out a title, calling out the person that has that title, and they just didn't respond, and now it's Lee Johnson. Like, nothing that they laid the groundwork for is paying off here. This frustrated me from the perspective of where the hell did this come from?
Yeah, Kate, it feels like, what do you guys want me to care about? Do you want me to care? You got me to care about some things, and then you make those things disappear. And then some things I don't care about at all. You're like, hey, remember this? Do you care about this? I'm like, no, I didn't care about it when it was happening. I like these guys. That's why I do not want to take away from Colt Karter and Griff Garrison. I think they're very talented guys. They just need to be put in different positions because this thing hasn't worked and it never worked. Maria's great. Just put her with the Kingdom. I don't know why she's not over there. That just makes the most sense. So yeah, when this tag match was happening, Kate, I was like, who is this for? Why is this happening? What is this? What's the point of this? If this is leading to a tag match with the Kingdom and Griff, Garrison, and Colt Karter, brother, do I not want to see that? This Super Card of Honor shaping up to be some kind of thing, and if that match is anywhere on it, it's just not gonna work for what the story that they're telling with Super Card of Honor. That doesn't make any sense. Saw someone in the chat say, they've been featured on the show, so if you have watched Honor Club, you know of Griff, Garrison, and Colt Karter, but that's still not enough to warrant people caring about them or getting people to care about them challenging for anything in this kind of short amount of time. We're supposed to be building the Super Card of Honor, and if this is a part of it, because it kind of felt like Lee Johnson's thing was like he's been building for a couple weeks or months at this point, but it was like he made a conscious effort to be like it's Super Card of Honor. So if that's the thing we're supposed to take from today's episode and these two guys are part of it, I don't know. I don't really want it. I wasn't that interested in it. Kind of tuned out for a little bit, and not really a great thing when Ring of Honor is happening. I shouldn't be watching two tag teams that I don't really have that much interest in.
Agreed. And I'm interested in the story. I'm not interested in it being told in a week. Like, if you want to tell that story and you get to it 6 weeks down the line, fine. But definitely not overnight like this. See, this is not one that you can just snap together. Guys, just a reminder in the chat, we're not calling for anybody's jobs here. That's not what we do.
Oh, no.
So please knock that off immediately. Thank you.
Not about nobody's job.
No. Especially at a developmental brand. People are there to grow and learn. But I think what Reg and I were trying to emphasize is yes, they were featured. Then they went away. They weren't repackaged. They made no adjustments, and they're back with an alarming lack of context. So it's not even them so much as what are we doing with them and the creative around them. Something I liked on the program a lot more than a lot of things that we got tonight was this very fun Dalton Castle and Nick Comoroto match and the story continuing down the mountain. This is something that has had a tremendous amount of consistency and has been told very well for the most part. It's gone from extremely comedic to comedic sincere. Everybody has played their parts extremely well. Johnny, Taya, Dalton, these rent-a-cop boys, the regular boys, everybody is killing it in this picture, and it makes me very happy. But you got Dalton Castle winning with the bangarang here, which I thought was very well done. And I thought they did a good job telling the story of Dalton Castle versus the mountain of a man that Nick Comoroto is. We've seen multiple personalities from Nick Comoroto. I hope that they pick one and develop it and let him get reps with it. He's super serious, and sometimes he's lollipop guy and whatever. I hope they narrow in on something, because I think there is something special with him. I think he has something in there that is unrepeatable, and he's going to be a force when he finds it. But I liked what we got out of the match. Dalton doing a really good job with the obstacle that Nick Comorato's size was in this. But post-match, we get Taya cutting this nasty promo on a just despondent Dalton Castle in this, saying that the boys are rude and that they're annoying and that they're bad boys. And she makes out with Johnny, but she says he never loved them like they're going to, and that the reason that they're so rude and annoying must be because of the example that they've had in Dalton Castle. True. They make out over Dalton after Johnny attacks him. Love Ian pointing out that Dalton does love the boys, and in fact, they were 2-time 6-man champions with Dalton Castle, so they have been loved and succeeded and thrived under Dalton's guidance and tutelage. Thought the match was pretty fun here. Like the story continuing. We can only hope and pray that the OG boys return at Super Card of Honor. This is just a whole mess of fun. What did you think of this?
I like this. They're telling some stories. Anytime they tell stories, kind of opposite of how we came into this show, this is something being furthered. They have been telling the Dalton and Johnny TV / Taya's story for a while. Comoroto's he's tried so many things at this point, Kate. I hope he does eventually fall into something, because I think, yeah, he can represent this role of, like, we've been seeing the Butcher featured on AEW TV the last couple of weeks, and I think that Nick Comoroto can represent that same kind of role if he finds exactly what it is that he wants to present. But I think he's a great kind of big man. Worked really well here with Dalton Castle, getting Dalton Castle's finisher over, I think, really, really well. And Dalton looks strong. This is another good story, just kind of telling more of, we're getting to the pay-per-view, need Dalton on TV. I thought the promo with Taya was really strong and kind of brought it home. And she's telling the truth, like, the boys are like this for a reason, and the reason must be you, Dalton Castle. So you're the one that's going to pay for it, and the boys are going to stay with us forever. Really fun little story, a way to add some stakes to this feud, just having the boys be the prize. I think it's really fun and kind of funny. And of course, these two would be feuding over that.
Agreed. We're getting a lot of super chats in that I'm going to go through. I just wanted to thank you guys for the support, because we're getting some love tonight, including this from Patrick Moore, who asks if Dalton's highway shorts look better on Kate or Reg.
This is a good question.
It's a very good question, and quite frankly, you'll never know the answer, because you guys only really see us from, like, here up. You know what I mean?
We both could be wearing those shorts right now.
We might be. We might be in solidarity with Dalton right now, wearing those shorts. But you know what? Maybe Reg and I will settle that in Philly, and we'll tell you, but we won't show you. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna check the weather, though.
True, you're coming in from Cali. It's not highway shorts weather for you.
No.
Dan Beard saying, just do the match of the boys versus OGK at the pay-per-view so Maria can turn on them and join the United Kingdom. It's not a match people want, but it's a means to an end. Or give us a match people want. There's an idea. Like, I don't think you can do that, because I don't think Cole Carter and Griff Garrison, unfortunately, have the footing on their own without Maria either. Like, for someone to lose a manager, they need to be extremely well established, I feel like. And I don't think they're at that point yet, and I don't think it's their fault. But it does feel like they need to unlock something with them that they haven't. And I don't want pay-per-views to be a spot for anything that's a means to an end. Like, it shouldn't be. I find that very frustrating. Do you want to see a story and a payoff with that? Or are you kind of like, just put Maria with her and let them go? Like, do something else?
I mean, I do want to see something happen, because remember Maria did the random thing where she made their theme, and then we just kind of forgot about all that. It's like, well, let's kind of maybe pay off this story. I don't know if a 1-on or 2-on-2 tag match for the championships is a way. Maybe we do a multi-team tag match. Their Ring of Honor is known for doing things like that. That could be a good way to get a couple teams on this card, and it won't have to do that. And we can still try to pay that story off during the match. I think there's ways to do it. I don't know if I'm all in, but I could be convinced.
I agree. I think a multi-man match is a good idea. I do get very frustrated when we think about, like, our previous tag team programs being like FTR and the Briscoes, and one of the greatest trilogies of all times, and we're at this.
Yeah.
We know what can happen. We know where we're at. You got to give us better. You just got to give us better. A fun suggestion here from C. Delgado saying, boys should return with the Iron Savages, because we saw the sauce spot before. I think it would have been hilarious if the Iron Savages came out as boys. Like, if they had, like, all the feathers on. But I'm in on that. Jam Beard picking the wrong side, saying that Taya has the best interest of the boys when Dalton doesn't. Got to teach him to be better and nicer. Teach him to be Canadian is a very funny thing. Look, I'm sure if they weren't lost, they would be enjoying their free health care. However, I don't think Taya, who Johnny loves, is exhibiting great maternal behavior, much like the cruel and mean Mother Wayne, who Reg is going to fall in love with. But Travis Lindsay saying United Kingdom versus Best Friends at Supercard for the belt, right? No! Give it to an ROH tag team, not a tag team that isn't a tournament for other belts like our tag champs are.
Yeah, no, can't do it. Can't take it. I don't want it.
I just thought I would go full losing my mind right there. But one thing that is very frustrating to me was it felt like we had roster clarity and now we don't. I am very annoyed that there are tag teams that are in a tournament for one set of belts that also just had a trios match tonight. Pick a lane. It's driving me up a wall. But Jam Beard saying Maria leaves Carter and Griff. Dalton takes them as his new boys, but his former boys help Johnny and Taya after being taught better. No.
It's a lot of boys.
Let's make one thing extremely clear.
Yeah.
The original boys and Dalton Castle have an unbreakable bond. And if Taya Valkyrie thinks she can just come in here looking all great, talking all of her S, with all of her poise and her presence and her confidence and her snarky little attitude and her makey outy spots with Johnny, she thinks that is enough to keep the boys away from Dalton Castle? I don't think so. I'm on one tonight. I am overcompensating for how boring this episode was with a lot of energy.
It's needed.
I'm going to very gingerly address this, but Reg is the Christian of Fightful after, I think, talking about Mother Wayne saying, question though, since I missed the whole thing, what was the whole yarn stuff about? There was a gal who bought yarn dolls from another gal and sold them as her own. That opened up a whole can of worms, and the amount of worms that crawled out of that seemed to be infinite and unending, and I'm going to not talk about it any more than I just did, because other than the phrase Chronicles of Yarnia coming out of this, which popped me tremendously. There's nothing good to say about it, but there is a lot of nothing going on. A lot of nothing going on. Some serious things that did happen already. I don't know. I don't agree with bullying a bully under most circumstances. I don't think that's how things get solved. But not great patterns of behavior from a specific person on the internet, but ain't that wrestling? Ain't that the wrestling world?
I'm so happy that I accidentally don't be getting on the internet that much anymore. And then when I get on there, I'm like, oh, it's a fire. Let me go somewhere.
It is a dumpster fire. But Jay Beard saying, Kate, I'm always on Team Taya. Not only am I Canadian, but I live in Victoria, where she's from. Well, you can be on her team, but Jam Beard, I am now suspect of you. Because if that is the type of behavior and people that you associate yourself with, I will continue to take your money, which is very generous for chats, but I am suspicious. I am suspicious.
Shout out to my Canadian homies. I do a podcast with a Canadian friend. Shout out to Mike. I'm in. I'm in, Jam Beard. I'm with it.
You can't go siding with Taya. Come on now.
Canada, Bret Hart.
Who am I? Canada, Bret Hart, he says.
It's easy how
am I supposed to counter that? You win. Huge W for you. Damn it. How do I counter Bret Hart? Because I'm not even a Sean over Bret gal. I can't even. Nope. That's Queen of the Ring nonsense with all the Sean love. I'm a Bret gal myself. Goldberg sucks. Anyway, Mark Briscoe chimes in with a very heartfelt promo. He has become such an unbelievable singles wrestler as a juxtaposed underdog babyface. And what I mean by that is his moveset and his aggression and his character don't feel like they should have this natural underdog babyface appeal, but boy, does he. Like, he will just pull at your heartstrings. Promo over promo over promo. This was not much different. And then when you see it in the ring, you're like, how the hell is, like, am I rooting for this guy in this way? Like, it feels very much in the vein of, like, a Sami Zayn, and you wouldn't think that looking at the way that he goes about his business. But he talks about the loss of his brother, talks about Eddie Kingston's loss of the AEW Continental Classic, and not equating those two, but talking about the pain of the absences in your life, I thought was nice here. But Briscoe saying he knows that Kingston has also had his ups and downs over the years, just like the Briscoes did. But that when Kingston said he was going to find the old Eddie Kingston for this match at Supercard of Honor, Briscoe's going to show Eddie Kingston that he's the man. 11 years to the day after his brother won his first ROH title, which is a very special and cool happenstance. I think it's a real possibility that Mark Briscoe wins. It would give Mark home to working consistently instead of just kind of floating in and out of these spots on the main roster. It would give Eddie a good development for his story as well, losing the Continental title, losing this ROH title, eventually that New Japan Strong title. I think we're headed for like the downfall of Eddie Kingston and all of this, but really just one of the most sincere speakers that you can get on a microphone these days. Absolutely love it. What do you think of this promo from Mark?
Yeah, really, really good promo, Kate. You bring up some great points because Mark Briscoe has always had this underdog fight from behind thing just attached to him. Even before like the thing with his brother, like throughout history, he's just kind of represented that, like you said, with his moveset. Bringing up Sami Zayn, such a great example too, because they have kind of that same fighting spirit of like, you just have no choice but to get behind them. When they're heels, there's still some little intangible thing about them that you're like, I just love this guy. And Mark Briscoe's that. The thing happened with Jay and it like just went up tenfold. Like he's had that thing before. Now he has that thing times 100 because there's just, things sitting on his back of his brother who was there throughout his whole career, who is still in his corner for every match, but in a different way. And it's just like the way that he can elicit emotions with these promos and just talking about his history and wrapping Eddie Kingston in it too. It's just like, wow, this is how you get over a match without interaction at all between the two of these guys. It's just been promos talking, and we're never even seen any face-to-face. Hopefully we get one of those before the pay-per-view, but these promos have made me even more excited about the match. And I think if we do eventually get what they seem to be leading us to, of Mark Briscoe being a Ring of Honor world champion, that is very, very, very there's so many emotions that are attached to that. We thought it was going to happen before. I'm happy that it's going to happen now. I think what it represents, what he's been through. He was in, he's been in ROH since the beginning. It's going to be in Philadelphia, 11 years to the day that Jay won the belt. This like everything is just makes so much sense. I'm excited to be there live in attendance. Great promo.
Agreed. I'm glad that you brought up the timeline of that. We thought he was going to win before and now he's winning, because like if he won and got injured, that would just be like the biggest bummer in the world. So I'm glad it's on this side of the injury that we're getting it. Glad we're getting a payoff to what was laid out for us months ago. But I hope that he wins, because we've had some. I feel like the ROH pay-per-views have always been really strong in the new era. Yeah. But some of them have not been very feel good. And this time last year, it was not very feel good. Like we got a lot of heels winning. And we also had the nasty injury to Dante happened right around this time, right? I think so.
That was that Supercard last year.
Yeah, I thought so. Mm-hmm. So I think they have an opportunity to just send people home happy, and I hope they do. And Shame Monster saying that he is happy because maybe I'm on a Stardom hype cloud, but I didn't hate it tonight. And guys, Micah and Athena will be in the same building Friday, TK Planet. Now, I don't know a ton about Stardom. I do know that we got this match between Mina, Micah, and May versus Saya, Tom Nakano, and AZM. And I will say the thing that I immediately noticed, we talked about it last week, but now we're seeing he get amplified, is an unbelievable expediting of the Stardom working relationship now that Rossi is not running Stardom. So it certainly feels like as soon as that change was made, whatever hesitations there were about working together, I'm not here to like pick sides, but once the managerial relationship changed, that door opened, and it opened very quickly, which is encouraging to see, because the more interpromotional work that's happening, the better, in my opinion. So I'm not a close watcher of Stardom. I am familiar with a lot of these names, and I am very excited about it. I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to learn more about Stardom through these interpromotional relationships. Can't wait for this match. I loved what we got last week with Anna Jay. I am one of those people that is rooting to open up a door to excursions back to the New Japan and Stardom umbrella. I think that would be something that's just a really great use for a very big roster. But yeah, I mean, any thoughts on that, Reg, about how quickly it seems like we now have AEW and ROH working with Stardom, and any thoughts on this match in particular?
Yeah, it's just exciting stuff all the way. One of my favorite, this whole thing is kind of full circle moment, because one of my favorite Ring of Honor matches ever is a Dragon Gate 6-man. It happened 2006. It was a Super Card of Honor match, WrestleMania weekend, and it's one of the wildest matches you ever seen. That's what I got just seeing the announcement for this match. I'm like, oh, it's going to be those same type of vibes. I'm not the most well-versed on Stardom. My co-host Philip Lindsay keeps up. He informs me on things, and just knowing and hearing some of these names and being familiar with them, I know that this match at this time on this show is going to blow minds. It's one of those people aren't going to be familiar, but when it's over, everyone's going to be familiar. I'm excited just because I think that with Mercedes coming in and the way that Stardom and New Japan were like, yo, if Mercedes is in, we're all in, and them immediately getting to it, I think it's just a good sign. The women's wrestlers in both promotions are going to benefit so much from flip-flopping to each promotion. So this is just great for women's wrestling, and we're going to see some amazing wrestling.
I'm very excited about that too. And you're right, Mercedes has time and time again been reiterating this global revolution aspect of her early kind of mission statement here in AEW. When she had that match with Willow where she got injured, that same tournament, she had an incredible match with Stephanie Vacura, who I've really grown to love everything I've seen from. So I'm glad that she gets to maintain that. And I'm glad for all of the other women who are going to also be benefiting from that, because I think it's just great when promotions work together, and in particular promotions in different parts of the world, because if you ever hear wrestlers talk about, I think Joey Janela actually had talked about this pretty extensively, like, man, when you go to work in Japan, it's a different sense of humor. It's a different timing. Like, everything's different, and how important it is to be expansive in where you work in the world, because you just learn how to be a better storyteller to different audiences and environments. So the more of that, the merrier. Patrick Moore saying, and I agree, the production quality of this promo was great. Yeah. Some extra kicked in around the C2 when they started doing all those backstage promos. And they've kind of kept that style on the main roster. It's leaked into ROH a little bit too, but the production has felt more distinct in ROH in general, I think, than it did a couple months ago. Like, we're starting to see promos like this made it feel like it has its own identity a little bit, if that makes sense. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. There was a couple of promos like that on the show tonight that it was like, yeah, it gives it a little different feel. Makes it feel more like ROH, where it's not just matches, backstage promos, more matches. It gives it a little something different. Adds a little bit more personality to the wrestlers too.
Agreed. I think it is really refreshing and great to see. But I'm not going to let that detract from the fact that I still did not like most of this episode. Okay? It was really, really good production, but I'm still mad at you, Ring of Honor. You're still grounded. Jim Beard saying, makes a mental note of making Kate sing Spice Girls next Tuesday. I've sang way weirder songs than anything you could throw at me from Spice Girls. Girl power all the way. Right as we're coming out of that compliment about production into the most unnecessary thing and superfluous thing on the show, Colt Cabana and Brandon Cutler versus Rex Lawless and Bryce Donovan. Fun comedy tag team. No idea why this is here. It's a week before a pay-per-view. These guys are not competitive in ROH. These guys are rarely seen on ROH. They win with a big double slam. This is completely pointless. And I don't want to sound insulting to the wrestlers, because it's not like there was anything bad about the match and it was fun enough, but it's pretty forgettable in the grand scheme of things when you consider that you're a week out from pay-per-view. Like, I don't know if this is just because we're taping across different episodes and pulling from different episodes or whatever, but it kind of feels like they're like, well, we don't want to be under an hour, so put that in or whatever. I really don't have a ton to say about this match other than it was fun. It was good. It was there. I don't know why. It doesn't feel like we have a tag team division because we don't have tag team champions around, and it's a week before pay-per-view. Any thoughts?
Listen, Cole Karter and Griff Garrison, I apologize for all the comments that I had earlier.
I did not know your game.
Was the most worthless thing I think I've ever seen in the history of Ring of Honor. Why? When this match happened, I was like, okay, they're playing in our faces at this point. What are you guys doing? Why am I watching this? Listen, Colt Cabana, Brandon Cutler, big fans. I like you guys. I like all your work and everything, but this is worthless. Even if we weren't a week out from a show, this would be worthless. If there was like, we're just have a throwaway episode, this still would be worthless. What is going on here, dude? I don't want to see this at all. Give me one reason why we should care about this. They're with the Young Bucks. I love the Young Bucks, greatest tag team of all time. There's a reason we're all watching this shit. But this was stupid. I have nothing further to say, Kate. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. You don't. That is.
Oh my God, what am I watching right now?
Why? Like, I don't even mean that. Like, why are we even, like, genuinely why? Somebody tell me why I should be invested in this match at all. Other than the fact that I think Colt Cabana and Brandon Cutler are a perfectly serviceable tag team and they're fun. Okay. This is Ring of Honor and we're a week out from pay-per-view. Hey, something else I don't understand. Action Andretti and Top Flight defeating KPK here. Where are the 6-man belts? What are we doing? Match was fine. Top Flight is always impressive. Action Andretti, great split-legged moonsault. Love it. Are you a trio? Are you a tag team? Are you an ROH? Are you an AEW? What the are we doing? We had clarity. That clarity is gone. I feel like Action Andretti is not the most for me wrestler in the world. He's young. He has a lot of potential. There's definitely something there that should be cultivated. Being in a trio sometimes is not a way to grow young talent. I don't get it. It's maddening, especially when Top Flight are in a tag team tournament on the main roster. Man, really fun match. Like, I liked what I saw, and KPK was very fun as a trio as well. Like, if you just like a great hour and 20 minutes of wrestling, you got it here. But it's a week before pay-per-view, and this is not, I'm going to say it, you got in trouble for it on the internet. This is not AEW Dark. I don't understand how
Black out my picture.
Has a big...
Walk me out.
I got it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. You can repeat it now. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
The ghosts know that I'm going to get blown up on the internet. I'm going to fix the white girl light situation.
Hold on. Let me stop laughing so my voice isn't attached either.
Yeah, please. No, you can view your mic giggle off screen.
Okay.
The ghosts know. Okay. There is a pay-per-view a week from now. And this is an episode of AEW Dark. I said it. Come at me, internet. Y'all get mad that I'm like, I would like more than a half hour of wrestling on SmackDown. How about this? How about this?
Insane. If you follow Kate's Twitter and she said, come at me. This is insane. Like, as much as Kate is on Twitter fighting with trolls, she said, come at me. This is insane.
I'll do fight 'em ups. At least I'd have a story. Week before pay-per-view.
Yeah, some points are being made.
Points are being made.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on this match, Reg?
Spot fool, look, if we're gonna go all the way out, if we're gonna be like, all right, look, we don't care about what's going on here, at least give me some spot food. Put Top Flight in there, 3 of the homies, let them flip. That's all. It's like, all right, look, we don't got too many stories to tell. Can we get some guys to flip? That's the easy way to entertain Reg, and I was all in. I could see Top Flight getting a trios championship match at this show, Super Card of Honor, against, put a gun to my head, it's going to be hard to name who the champions are. Just kidding, Bullet Club Gold. I could see them getting a match at the show, especially kind of with this match that they showed tonight. It'll be interesting. They could be a good trios tag team champions if you let them. So it could end up not being the worst. I don't know if that's what we're leading, but that's what I kind of feel like, because you got to get those championships on this show. And I think having that representation will be cool. So wasn't the worst. If we're going to have some filler matches, having some spot food, having some flips is a good way to do it.
It's true. Zero Prime wants to know why I hate AEW Dark. I love AEW Dark. AEW Dark without champions, or AEW Dark having champions but not having champions around and having a pay-per-view doesn't work. Okay? Mm-hmm. What is the consensus of what all ROH fans want? They're champions around and stories built toward those championships. Basic wrestling fundamentals, but Jam Beard. Basic. I mean, the most basic thing in wrestling is that you have a champion on the show. Mm-hmm. Kate yelling about ROH reminds me of the WWE IWC trolls talking about story of AEW. Well, I would like to think that the difference is there's a lot of fans that are a fan of the WWE style of things and the product and don't connect to the AEW mode of storytelling that stories can unfold through in-ring action. Yeah. That's what I learned, is that a lot of fans of the WWE product view it as story happens in promos and then they fight about it, as opposed to there's demonstration of storytelling in the ring, which is actually my favorite part. But where's the story? I see it. Where's the champions is what I want to know in ROH world. Guys, thank you so much for your support tonight. You guys have been
cool.
Showing out for us in the chat. We appreciate this. The show is not the most popular wrestling products in the whole wide world, so we really do appreciate it, because we have 4 hosts, and that can get a little expensive when you got to pay 4 people, and it's a paywalled service show. So very much appreciate all of the support we're getting. Feel free to get in those chats. A reminder that the TNA post show is coming off of the back of our post show as well. But we also want to take a moment to thank one of our sponsors who supported the Fightful Awards, and that is Matthew Hooks of Hooked in Voiceover. Let me see if I can pull up his background. Do we have it? I might have to switch over to Sour Graps World, but Matthew Hooks is a huge supporter of this show. He was a supporter of the Fightful Awards. He sponsors us every Tuesday, and he was a very talented voiceover artist. He has been the voice of international and national world-class brands, and he's fantastic. You can check out his reel on his website. You can check him out on social media. I'll get those handles for you once I pull this little background up. But he does a lot more than just the actual recording process, too. He does a lot of the editing work and can do just about anything you need in the voiceover realm, which is pretty cool. And he's always so great to us. We ask that you be so great to him back. We very much appreciate him sponsoring our very weird little world every Tuesday nights. But you can go to hookedinvoiceovers.com, email him at hookedinvoiceover@gmail.com, and Hooked in Voice on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. Great supporter of us. We ask that you support him, and definitely check out his work if it's something you need, because we do take pride in the sponsors that we have on the show. And if he was bad at it, we wouldn't have taken his money to let him promote with us. So rest assured, high quality stuff from Matthew Hooks. And I doubt the level of sponsors or clients rather that he gets would trust them with their brands if he was bad at this. He's actually quite great at this. So please support him if you would be so kind. We'll also remind you to leave a thumbs up on this video. There's a lot more of you watching now than were at the beginning of the show, so we appreciate you guys tuning in. Helping people find us by leaving a thumbs up is very, very helpful. And we'll remind you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com as well. Tons of scoop skis, especially on the TNA side this week of all brands. A lot going on in TNA worlds, man. And as Crapsty will be returning, stay tuned to Fightful Select. Gonna get a lot of us next week. So big week in Philly next week. The other thing that Kate yelling about ROH reminds me of was when Billie Kay of the Iconics would do her arm swinging, fist fighting in the air spot. Yep. I do admittedly have a lot of mosh pit experience. Not usually going in it, mostly being scared on the outside of a mosh pit, but I do love metal, and I really loved metal in college. So very experienced in the Billie Kay air punch milieu, if you will. But let's get back to some ROH. You guys have been awesome with the support today. Thank you so much. We move on to Kiera Hogan defeating Diamante in what I thought was a way more fun match than it had any right to be. If you love, this match was not for you, because these two were going at it. They were fighting, but we know that they are very close in real life. We'll leave it at that. But Kiera Hogan getting Diamante on her shoulders, but Diamante with the rake of the eyes in this. Nasty side of Diamante that I like to see. But Hogan fighting back and hitting a beautiful step suplex on Diamante to end this. Love is dead. But this match was not. This match was very, very, very fun. A fun, we talk about collision of ring styles a lot and the clash there and how it makes really great matches. Such different personalities with the two of them, but both of their personalities are very big in how they show up. So it was very fun to see like all the fire that Kiera Hogan comes out with, all the like just kind of the like, she was a baddie, right? She has that bitch energy. I love it. And Diamante just being this absolute violent badass. Like, I love Clash of Styles, but seeing the two personalities come out so vividly in this, I actually thought was super, super fun. This was just a great women's match, and I liked that it kind of came out of the tournament story as well. I like when tournaments bear fruit to other matches like this. So I love this. This was one of the things on the show that I really liked. What did you think of this?
Yeah, this was super fun. I love that story that they told coming out of the tournament. I love that last week Kiera was like, I'm going to see you. And then this week she saw her and she showed her exactly what she said in the promo. That's about as simple as execution as you could get. Next week, we're going to have a fight, and then I'm going to beat you up in the fight, and then we're going to go home together and have a good relationship. Great stuff. Great work. Everybody did great here. No, I love these two women just having a really good match. Diamante is fantastic in this role of like, I will rip anyone's head off. Like, about everything about me is winning this match and being the best in the world. That's the story that I want to continue to tell. But Kiera's like, I'm establishing myself. I think coming out of this, whoever wins this women's TV title, coming out of this, you got a built-in contender right there. And I think that's going to lead to some great matches and some great work. Both of these women, I think, are going to be contenders coming out of this. I love them just establishing themselves for the future. It's like they're telling this story with each other, but that story is leading to more for both of them.
Reg is Booker of the Year as far as I'm concerned.
Honestly.
He was like, I think it's good when people give promos, say they want to fight, and then they do so. Because we're going to talk about our main event very shortly. And how there was a guy who was calling for a specific title, getting wins to support the idea he should be going after that specific title, and then just hasn't been on the show.
Damn.
I don't get it. I don't get why this company can't figure out what to do with Ethan Page. But before we get there, a very fun match. A very fun match between Evil Uno and JD Drake. This was a blast. This might have been... Kyle Fletcher and Blake Christian had some fun work in there. But, like, this was match of the night until I saw that. That's for sure. I had a blast with Uno and Drake. Drake hitting Uno with a huge cannonball, but missing a splash from the top rope, and Uno gets an opening and takes it for a pin. Two big boys with a ton of speed and strength going at it. I loved everything that we got out of this. Kind of a sleeper. Like, I looked at the rundown and was like, oh, that'll be cool and fun. But that's kind of the story of JD Drake with a lot of people, I think, is they're like, oh, he's great with everyone. That'll be fun. And then you see him in there and you're like, well, damn. This guy rules. So at least that's my reaction. I loved this. Nice to see Uno in action. Would love to see the Dark Order and members of the Dark Order getting some work in. Stu Grayson. If there was peer division, maybe ever again. But Good stuff tonight. You guys know how I feel about JD Drake. I absolutely adore him. Nice to see Uno in there. He's another one that sometimes his personality is so big and great and fun that you forget, like, oh, when this guy gets down to business, though, he goes, right? So I loved this. You had your spot food. This was like a Kate match for sure. Did you have as much fun watching this as I did, though?
I sure did. These two guys are very similar in the way that they work. So this was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense putting them in the ring together. They got in there and did exactly what I thought they would do. They slugged it out. JD Drake did exactly what he always does. Evil Uno is really underrated in these type of matches and this type of position of playing veteran, but also against a veteran who kind of knows all the tricks that you know, but still like pulling out tricks that we've never seen before. He always has kind of something to prove. And I think with the way that he kind of runs out of being a wrestler and like the way that he books mystery wrestling and these other things, it aids in what he presents on screen. And I thought it shined pretty bright here. JD Drake, I think, needs to continue to get more of an opportunity while Anthony Henry is out with his injury. I think putting him in positions like this, having him in this kind of mode of he could be a spoiler for somebody getting into a feud or things like that, I think is a good place for him to represent. This match was really fun. If you the second half of this show had some really strong matches, and this was one of them.
Agreed. I really liked kind of this whole stretch of Kiera Hogan and Diamante into this entire main event. Super, super fun. Shout out to Mystery Wrestling too. A very fun ecosystem that's been created at Mystery Wrestling. I think the M&M boys got their first wins as the models, which was very fun. I'm a big Mason and Mansoor gal, as a lot of people know. Ethan Page doing work in that as well. I think Sonny Kiss showed up there too, maybe. I'm getting everything right in my head. So shout out to Mystery Wrestling. If you're not watching Mystery Wrestling, please do
watch it.
Some really just if you want to sit down and enjoy something, Mystery Wrestling's got you covered. But Meet Normus chiming in with some support, saying, "What's up, partners? Yes. Here's a small sack of monies for snacks or whatever Kate eats." I eat snacks. I just don't eat meat. But meat forever, says Meet Normus. Thank you so much for always being so kind to us. We do very much appreciate it. Jam Beard calling for Kiera Diamante 3, a tiebreaker match. Should be the do the chores for a month on a pole match.
Look, do the dishes on a pole. I'll be fighting harder than ever to not
I know that. Exactly. If it was like you have to fold the laundry, you could have your title belts.
Keep them. Nah.
So it's way more useful to me if you're like having to scrub toilets or whatever. But that does bring us to our main event match, and my God, is that an ROH champion I see in the yonder? My goodness. Kyle Fletcher with his 8th bad hairstyle of the year is back. Always looks like a variation of someone on Home Improvement so far, I feel like. We had like the Jonathan Taylor Thomas hair. This kind of feels like his Brad era of Home Improvement, which might be the whitest thing I've ever said on the show. But my God, if we don't get Kyle Fletcher, who's fantastic, and Blake Christian, who's unbelievable in this, so much fun. Earlier in the evening, we had Lexi Nair with Lee Johnson backstage saying that he's not here to take part and participate, but he's here to take over, and he's here to take titles. Kind of sounds like someone else who was talking about this about 8 weeks ago. Mentions the TV title match, saying no matter who wins tonight at Supercard of Honor, he's next shot at the World TV title. Doesn't matter who the champion is. Lovely Johnson. Talk about it week over week, Reg. One of the most improved wrestlers in the past year. Crisp offense, super explosive, fundamentals done extremely well. As some of the sharpest wrestling you can have, and he is on that path. He was getting all these wins. Felt like he was building towards something. Where the hell did the Ethan Page story go? How have you not figured out what to do with Ethan Page on AEW or ROH television? This makes absolutely no sense to me, and I am so beyond frustrated because there was nobody around taking any pride in this product until Ethan Page came in here, felt like the guy that they were actually going to hand stuff off to, sounded great in like a press conference after the last pay-per-view, talked about wanting to be the pride of this show, how much it meant to be the guy, regardless of where you get put, like how it's important to be aiming for that as your goal, was getting wins, turned face for this new character, talking about bringing gold back to his family, getting wins to build toward it, calling Kyle Fletcher out when Kyle Fletcher is stuck in Australia with visa issues, does this great promo about how Kyle Fletcher is actually ducking him. Kyle Fletcher doesn't show up for a couple weeks and kind of felt like he was ducking Ethan Page, and then Ethan Page is nowhere to be found. Just discarded this entire thing. What the F? It's not just that it's like one of my favorite dudes. You built to this match with a different guy, and now you've just taken this guy and 2 weeks beforehand decided you're going to copy and paste almost the exact same story with way less wins behind it geared toward this story. Picking up wins, certainly. What the hell are we doing? I don't get it. And all the credit in the world to Lee Johnson. He's looked phenomenal. Like he's really grown. He's looking so good in the ring. He looks good at every win he gets. I just don't understand what the hell we're doing with this.
Yeah, put my guy Ethan Page on the back of a milk carton because I have not seen him. Seems like maybe they're watching this because as soon as I praised him, they're like, all right, take him off of the show. He's done. It's over. I'm like, yo, what happened? No, he really was building towards this match. And when they announced Lee Johnson, I was confused. I tweeted about it. I thought this was Ethan Page's whole thing. So it was kind of confusing to me. Regardless of that, beyond that, we still got time. Maybe Ethan Page will get in there, triple threat match. I don't know. The match was awesome, though. Kyle Fletcher and Blake Christian tore it down. I think Blake Christian has had a bunch of really great showings. It's crazy that he's still the GCW World Champion. Anytime he has a match here, I'm like, he's the GCW World Champ. They don't ever say anything. But I thought this is a really fun showing. They had a lot of really dope counters. Blake Christian did some really interesting combination moves and flips and spins, and he's a really talented guy. But Kyle Fletcher in his Brad era, shout out to that, I think was the best thing is like, it sucks that Ethan Page isn't there, but Kyle Fletcher is still so incredible. When the bell rings, you just kind of forget about it. I'm like, well, just put him on TV. And long as he's working, I don't really care what kind of shit you do with him. But this was a kind of like, oh, that's unfortunate for Ethan Page just because he built the match. He was calling him out by name. He was the only one that's like, if you're not going to put me in stories, I'm going to tell my own story. So it was like unfortunate that he doesn't get that payoff. But, it's still, it's not the end of the world. It's not the last Ring of Honor show ever. It's not the last thing. Ethan Page could still be in here. But I thought Kyle Fletcher killed it. That pile driver finish is insane. Like, he's just such a talented guy. In 10 years, he'll be even more talented. We're in a good era right now with him.
He is. He just feels like kind of coming up under that learning tree from Will Ospreay, and spoken about Kenny Omega's influence on him. He's just fantastic. He improves every rep, and he's already damn good. So this did end with Kyle Fletcher hitting a hell of a kick in the corner, dropping Christian with a brain buster. Christian fighting back so like quickly and beautifully with this and going for a pin of his own. But that pile driver, like you said, getting the pin in this match, really fantastic match. A really nice Blake Christian is so fast and so athletic and flippy that you can get distracted by how great that is. But to me, like, the beauty of it is it's so often so logically woven. And I feel like one of Kyle Fletcher's biggest strengths is how efficient he is in the way that he moves in the ring. Like there's very little that is for show or flash with Kyle Fletcher. And I think that kind of pulled Blake Christian into this really wonderful realm of being able to showcase what he's able to do, but it all still looking like he's trying to win a match, which is something that I am always looking for. No, Ethan Page is not injured, people in the chat. And I haven't heard about anything backstage with him. I have no idea what the hell this is, but he's great. This makes no sense. It's wildly frustrating. A lot of this episode was wildly frustrating. We're a week away from pay-per-view, and this episode kind of sucked. Great matches, great workers. Not a lot to say about the creative that does not support any of it, but
Bring in some other great workers.
We're going to bring in some other great workers who are extremely creative. I'll put it that way. We've got
all I do is work.
All she does is work.
True.
All she does is work. She works hard for the mic. Look at you. You look beautiful.
I had a muggle job interview today, so I've been all lubed up and ready to go since earlier today.
Whoa! Lubed up and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. You'll be saying that in your nightmares. How's everyone doing on this beautiful Thursday evening?
Phenomenal.
We are doing.
I mean, the show wasn't that great, but other than that, great.
Show was bad. Show was like actually downright like the in ring was fantastic, but the show was.
Kate's trying to get canceled tonight. I'm not trying to say all that. I thought it was okay.
Look, it was a really boring show, and so I spent a lot of time overcompensating with energy on this post show.
I'm going to tell you all the secrets.
WrestleMania is next week. Something to be excited about there.
I'm very excited about that.
Right on top of that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Joel. I'm the worst.
I know, because you decided to jump right on top of what I was
right on Joel's little thing. Yep.
Right
nobody wants to hear Joel.
All I was trying to say was I already saw it last. I already saw the show you talked about last.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
Talk about the Evil Uno spot, though. Talk about Uno hitting that Hurricane Rana on JD Drake. Come on.
It was great.
that
match was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Fun live.
The matches were great. There's no creative supporting anything right now. How was TNA? Was it better? Was it better than ROH?
There was a lot of random introductions. Randomly, Matt Cardona was there.
new tapings, new guest stars.
I'm not mad.
The Philly tapings.
Yeah, this is Philly part 1. Philly part 1 of 4.
Nice. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. So the big news: Steph DeLander is here, and she's going to face Jordynne Grace for the Knockouts Championship at Rebellion.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Also, on Fightful Select reported that AJ Francis is signed to TNA, so some exciting lockdown for you guys over in TNA world.
Good stuff. Lockdown's a different show, but yeah.
I mean, good for him. Not Kate just leaving. She said, I've had it. I've had it with this crew. You guys
lockdown.
Listen, she doesn't have to be up at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, okay?
That's true. TNA's locked down too. Thanks for having me, people that are also here.
Oh, you don't know my life. You don't know my life. I might have to be up at 8.
You don't, but I'm also up at 7, not 8. I have to be out of the house by 8, so here we are.
This is clowning around at the speed of clown. Ladies and gentlemen, only the finest, most classiest fightfuls.
Only the best clowns.
The classiest. We
clowniest.
give you the best. The bestest, and any criticism of us won't be tolerated.
Hi, Cresta Star.
Hi, Joel Pearl. How are you today?
My hair's messed up.
Just put on a beret and feel the French fantasy. For you, it'd be Quebecois.
Quebecois, and yes.
Quebecois. I learned something today. No, let's not alienate our French viewers.
Okay. They've already been alienated enough.
I mean, PCO was their mascot.
Listen, the man's already too confused as to what he wants to do with his life. Monsters Ball.
I've seen this same exact promo when it was Eddie Kingston just yelling for not Eddie Kingston. I'm sorry, can you imagine?
Was it PCO yelling again? Because that's all he
PCO yelling about Eddie Edwards. But can you imagine Eddie Kingston versus PCO? I think I'd laugh. I would laugh so hard.
I'd probably let that happen.
I mean, he would slap him back to life.
Yes. No, that's exactly what would happen. Anyway, here we are. We're back again. Shall we do it?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. I got to pack after this, so let's go. It's a long weekend. Give me a break. Love y'all. Let's get to work. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com. It's March 28th, 2024. I am Joel Pearl, and it's time for your TNA Wrestling Impact Post Show. Cresta, I feel a little fake when we do this because people don't always know if they're listening in only audio form that I suddenly just turn on some different version of myself to do this show.
You got to be a little fake to be in the biz, baby.
That's true. Do the work and be a little fake. Cresta Star's here. She's not fake. She's totally real. She's got everything you need.
I don't know, man. According to some man on Twitter, all the girls that work at Fightful are just Sean AI, and I'm actually Sean Ross Sapp. And if you saw the interview that I did with Queen of the Ring, I was Sean Ross Sapp by way of Denise Salcedo. So I'm a guy in real life. So that's what girl stands for.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And I am not actually Canadian. I am the person who actually made all of those bots.
Well, fakes get exposed every day, B. I'm glad you guys are here for some fake wrestling, for some fake conversation with some fake people.
Listen, the face reveals don't always go well. That's all I'm saying. Dream didn't go well for him.
Oh, that's that young fellow. I do remember that. But the internet is mean. He could have been beautiful. And unless the expectations were unless he looked like handsome Squidward, the internet was going to be mean to that young person.
It's a fairly handsome gentleman, that Dream. Just has too much money and plays too much Minecraft. And I am old, so I want money.
I don't know who that man is. I've heard of his face reveal. I heard of him, but I don't know who that man is. If I saw him in the street, sorry to that man. My apologies to that man. I only watch wrestling and Drag Race, and he's on neither one of them.
Yet. There is still time for him to join RuPaul's Drag Race.
I mean, come on, work, diva.
Anyway, I think we've done our due diligence here. Let's talk about TNA Impact.
Let's do it.
2024. Like I said, we'll talk about Fightful Select a little bit later. A pretty busy episode of Impact. This was their first round from the TV tapings in Philadelphia that were taped last week. So we're starting to get into the meat of the Rebellion build. What do you think of the overall show?
A lot of surprise run-ins, I guess you could say. A lot of debuts tonight. Quite pleased. Promo heavy show again. No, that's a lie. I lied. It was a good mix of wrestling and promos. I liked it. I'm very easily sports entertained, as you guys know. And this tonight was solid 4 out of 5 episode.
And as I've noticed, whenever they do these tapings, the first episode is going to be the wrestling heavy show, and then they're going to set up next week with a bunch of pre-tapes that they will have done on the first night of tapings. And that is okay, because they had some of these matches already mapped out. The 841, the Sabin versus Macklin match, they kind of got to a bit of an announcement by doing a little pre-tape promo. And then of course the big promotional match when they were selling tickets for the tapings were Nemeth versus Shelley. That's going to be next week. But regardless, it felt like they were really just putting matches out there with the beginning parts of the story for the latter half of the Rebellion build, which I don't mind. It was pretty good.
I'm excited for Rebellion. Now, the only thing I'm not excited about with Rebellion is that I'm going to be in St. Louis for Dynasty, but I'm going to bring my laptop. I think I'm going to work. The hardest working woman in professional wrestling. Bam, bam.
You are the other bots. It's fine.
Listen, all of us bots together, bot supremacy.
Something in bio.
Beep boop beep boop beep beep boop beep boop beep.
Anyway, if you want to get to Funky Town, how about you leave us a thumbs up on the video, and of course subscribe to us here at youtube.com/Fightful. If you're listening in the audio realm, why haven't you left a 5-star review yet? We're cold and there are wolves after us, and we want your support and your love. So go ahead, leave us a 5-star review on this podcast, on any of the other podcasts. I get it. Maybe you're only listening for Sean, and maybe we just popped up on your feed. Maybe you're someone who's such a TNA super fan that you somehow sit through us every week, and you're just like, get to the conversation about TNA and stop talking about everything else. And we get there. We do. So leave a 5-star review because we get there. We do. Or maybe you just need an excuse to say nice things. 5-star review. Go ahead. All major platforms. Thumbs up and all that. And of course, donate a super chat at youtube.com/Fightful. Any amount, get your question statement read on the air. Or how about humperchats.com? That's our Streamlabs platform. And Cresta is going to tell you all about it.
I debated doing this in a French accent, but I won't. But it's the beret. It's sending me. Ladies and gentlemen, you can take your... You said do it? Okay. Hey, je t'éclaire, oui. So you take your fingers or your thumbs and you go to humperchats.com and you type in your, how do you say in English, your comment or your question read on air. And you be like, Joe Pearl, I'm like to fromage, preferably in English because we are stupid American. I'm stupid American, okay? So humperchats.com, oui, je t'éclaire.
When WWE Backlash is in Paris, or not in Paris, when they're in France, I need you on the post show, and I need you doing this exact same act for the entirety of the post. I'm going to pitch this to Sean. You don't even have to do it. I'm going to tell Sean Cresta needs to do the post show. He's got a very, very good gimmick for the post show. And when he asks what it is, I'm going to tell him just to wait.
You're going to show him this clip right here. Like, hello, we just declare my name is Cresta. Thank you so much. This is Backlash in France.
Ho, ho, ho.
Croissant.
No backlash.
It is the backlash of the lash of the week. This is the only lash I know.
Well, and Lash Legend, of course.
I mean, Lash Legend and Trick Williams. So, I love a good wrestling couple. I know this is not the show, but I've been seeing the clips on Instagram and the Instagram intern for WWE. I see you. Such a cute little storyline. I'm here for it.
I'm a Lash LaRue guy. That's me.
I don't know who that is.
My WCW fandom coming out for you.
Okay, work. I'm proud of you.
They called him the Raging Cajun. Ho, ho, ho.
I hear Raging Cage. I think of Gambit from X-Men. Mon ami.
Oh, I think of your phone going off with a text message.
That's not my phone. That's my roommate getting a message from a man.
That's even better. All right, let's start. Impact opens up with the 8-4-1 match. The match that you and I talked about last week is, oh God, I hope it's not happening. Please don't let it happen. Please don't tell me it's not happening. And then it did happen. Steph DeLander replaces Ash by Elegance, who got Botox. And then we'll get into that in a little bit. So she gets a team with Dani, Luna, Rosemary, and Zaya Brookside. And then to open it up, they defeat the team of Havok, Masha Slamovich, Jody Threat, and Alicia Edwards. And then in the 4-way, Steph DeLander gets the win. She is the #1 contender for the Knockouts Championship. She defeats Dani, Luna, Rosemary, and Zaya Brookside in the fatal 4-way. So once again, this match opens up with Ash by Elegance barely being heard because for some reason the mics were messed up for the first half of this show. Something got weird with the production. Anyway, you can eventually hear George Iceman eventually, and Ash comes out with the bonnet on her head. They say without saying she had Botox, she had Botox. Shout out to Dr. Rubenstein, does good work. And Steph DeLander is the replacement for this match. A pretty good match. We don't need to let's just get to the 4-way because that's really all that matters. Luna pins Masha Slamovich to move to the 4-way, and that immediately gets Masha angry, and she goes after Zaya Brookside, goes after Dani. Luna does Masha Slamovich. Can you tell it's late? Yeah. Zaya Brookside takes out Ash by Elegance by accident, and then Ash freaks out, sends Zaya into the ring post, and then Matt Cardona makes a surprise entrance. Hits the Sack Rider on, sorry, they call it radio silence on this brand.
Not the Sack Rider.
The Sack Rider. Hits it on Rosemary. Steph DeLander gets the victory. #1 contender.
We can never say that Bully Ray is the biggest heel because Matt Cardona, unprovoked, hit the Zack Ryder. I wrote down that it's called radio silence, but now all I'm going to remember, like, knick-knack, Zack Ryder. That's some scumbag. At first I was like, who is that? Was that Heath Slater? Was that the roster card? What is happening? Matt Cardona is known for a lot of things. Being a jerk is one of them. Welcome back. What you gonna do now? Your friend is in the system. You want to stop being a jabroni with them? I can't wait to see how this turns out. I'm happy Steph DeLander's here. It's a good shakeup. Tonight was also about introducing people because we had a lot of bust-ups to me of tag teams, which not mad, but replace them. If you're going to take away, replace. But we're replenishing our main roster. So I'm hoping that if this is where we're going, we're now going to get further episodes where we're adding new tag teams. The addition of GYV is amazing. But what else we got? You know, Rosemary and Havok coming back was great. But what else we got?
Yeah, I agree. And with Cardona coming in, we don't know how long that's going to be. It could have just been for the tapings because he did night 1 with Steph. And then he wasn't available for night 2. He had another engagement. Matt Cardona is still a free agent. And he'll troll Sean Ross Sapp whenever he asks about it. Says, I'm a free agent, then now forever together.
What
forever.
a troll.
What a troll. Regardless, this was a solid match. It is what it is. Steph DeLander making a surprise appearance. I'm happy that she's replacing Ash by Elegance in what we were thinking was going to be a rebellion match between Elegance and I'm using her name as if Elegance is her last name. We thought Ash by Elegance versus Jordynne Grace was going to be the match. I'm happier to see Steph DeLander do it. And maybe Ash by Elegance gets involved later on. Maybe they become associates to Steph DeLander and Ash by Elegance. Maybe Steph DeLander and Ash by Elegance have a feud after this. I wouldn't hate that. but I do like where we're going, at least to Rebellion.
I mean, I feel like we're setting up an Ash and a Zaya Brookside. And personally speaking, I don't like to just crap on people. I think it doesn't make any sense if there's nothing constructive coming from the conversation. I want Ash by Elegance to have a proper match. It's cool that you're squashing girls, yelling at them, telling them to kiss your feet. But even if Zaya Brookside is your intro match, Zaya Brookside is a really good technical wrestler from the stuff I've seen. So I'm ready for Ash to move on beyond George Iceman being the best part of this. You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind her being in that situation if she showed some meat. And I think we talked about that last week when we spoke about it. So I'm hopeful for her. I hope that her and Zaya Brookside get some reps in. I would love to see her versus Chris DeLander. Is it Steph DeLander or am I thinking of Chris DeLander? Steph DeLander. And Steph DeLander was oh my God, what was her name before?
Persia Parada.
What was her name before that?
It was Persia Parada.
That's not. I'm thinking of somebody else. Never mind. I'm thinking of somebody else. Yeah.
Her NXT name was Persia Parada. Are you thinking of who are you thinking?
I'm thinking of Blair Davenport. That's what I'm thinking of.
Blair Davenport was Bea Priestley.
Okay. Never mind then. Whatever I was saying, throw it out the window.
Wait, one of them is British. What are we doing? Can you guess which one was British?
This is the part where I take the mirror and say, Cresta, not all white people look alike. You're such a racist. So my apologies. My apologies to both young ladies. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
And it's Bea Priestley who's British. Because if I'm not mistaken, isn't that Will Ospreay's fiance?
No, they've broken up.
Yo, I'm so late. I'm late to I would be late to my own funeral, bro.
Will's been with Alex Windsor for years now.
Next thing I'll be telling you about a hot up and comer by the name of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, Paul Heyman, 1992, all over again.
Jesus Christ, Cresta, get it together. You heard about this fellow Alex Jones Styles? I heard he's pretty good.
He's called Alex Jones Styles. Oh, he's Uncle Alan rolling in his grave. Anyway, good God.
Listen, I'm Kate trying to get heat. I'm trying to get heat with Kate too.
I'm gonna get so many weird DMs about this, and I'm so excited.
They're
for
like,
it.
yo, who is this girl? She just be saying stuff, and it's true. Don't hold it against Joel. DM me instead and be like, why do you say the things that you do? And I'm gonna be like, depression and ADHD. Next match.
It'll be Cardona being like, you called it the Sack Rider, and I'll get Effie being like, good calling it the Sack Rider.
I said Zack Ryder. Knowing that you're saying Sack Rider is even better.
Yeah, it's called the Sack Rider. That's from the Effie thing that they were doing.
Even better.
God bless. This is already off the rails, and we're just one match in. Macklin and Sabin. The Rascals have walked out on Steve Macklin, so Macklin and Sabin run into each other and they challenge each other to a match. That's the main event tonight. Meanwhile, Time Machine, they're in the back. Fast forward to tonight. And Shelly's just being a total dick again and saying like, hey, now you're trying to be our friend Chris Sabin, even though you weren't our friend last week. And you're trying to climb ranks as a singles, so I will too. And I'm like, you're both leaving. Why are you doing this if you're both leaving? It's very strange that they opened up this story as both men are about to depart the company officially on April 1st. I don't know what we're doing here.
Maybe it's an April Fool's joke.
It ain't an April Fool's joke because on the night after Rebellion, they're booked to Smash Wrestling. So they're not going to take a booking for an outside company the night after the pay-per-view when there's a TV taping.
Okay, I see your logic and I don't like it. That being said, I don't know why they're starting this feud right now. Maybe it's like, don't leave. Let me show you what you could have. I don't know.
Maybe they're hoping to book them into a PPA type of deal. I don't know.
Like the handshake, the good, good heads.
I mean, we'll talk about Macklin in a little bit when it's the same. It's a similar conversation as Macklin's not officially out the door. We do know that his contract ends in the spring into the summer, and we don't know what his plans are. Meanwhile, we'll get to that a little later, how that all plays out. Meanwhile, so basically, like you've got the splitting of Time Machine. You got the splitting of Motor City Machine Guns. And then at the same time, you've got Ace of Base in the back, and they basically do the exact same thing. And it's very strange for them to just put this back to back. And then Ace is telling Chris Bay, hey, good on you being in that rebellion referendum last week. But I thought you would prioritize our tag team and our ranks in the tag division and recapturing the tag titles. And Chris Bay's like, no, you're like, I could do both. You tell him I can't do both. And Ace is like, no, you could do both. But like, I challenged Frankie because he disrespected me. And that's why I did a singles match. What are you doing? And then Bay's like, I'll just do the same. Again, this is breaking my brain. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, I was so confused. Like, if we're breaking up Motor City Machine Guns a la Time Machine, and now we're breaking up ABC because their title reign is over, I think that there is something to be said about tag teams staying together during a time of adversity or titlelessness. And to break them up immediately, I think they just lost the tag time maybe a month and some change ago. I wouldn't do it. If we're gonna have them be single stars, I wouldn't be upset about it. And if Motor City Machine Guns are actually leaving, I think you need to replenish it. Just having one GYV is not going to equal a Motor City Machine Guns and ABC breaking up.
At least we know that Ace Austin has re-signed with TNA.
Period. We love that.
That came out via Denise Salcedo. She had an interview with Ace this week, and Ace said that he has re-signed with TNA. So that's great. Don't know about
Denise.
Chris has got some time left on his contract with TNA, but regardless, it's just a very strange thing to but to run one after another with the Time Machine and then the Ace of Base conversation. I'm not going to call it a split, just a little bit of a rift. I don't know what they're doing, but it's intriguing in like the weirdest way.
I hope they don't break up. I want the best for Ace of Base. I think they are such a good tag team together. And again, I do think there's something to be said about a tag team staying together during a time of adversity. So don't be silly. Keep them together.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. They should, if anything, let them split off for a bit, go do the singles thing, and then come back to the tag division. I think that should have been the main takeaway from this.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have felt like there was animosity. It should have felt like, okay, let's focus on our own thing for a bit. We'll have each other's backs, but for now, I'm going to go after the X Division title. You're going to go after whatever. Like I'm going to do something different. And then when we need each other, we'll have each other. They didn't do that. They made it weird. And Bay was like, I'm going to go challenge Frankie Kazarian too. How do you like them apples? And Ace is just like, okay. All right.
I don't know, but to me, it was just a weird conversation in general. I don't see why you're upset that your friend is thriving.
Right. Be supportive of your friends and partners.
That is a good free life lesson. Don't be a hater for free.
High tides lift all boats. Unless the tide is too high, and then you got problems.
Or a Kraken.
The Ducks are currently playing the Seattle Kraken. GYV are taking on Diener. Diener continues his crowd decision gimmick, and I'm starting to think that the crowd hates Diener because Cresta Star, they wanted Diener to get the shit kicked out of him by GYV, and that's exactly what they did. However, I must point out, Tom Hannafin had my absolute line of the night when he was absolutely over it with Matthew Raywalt. Tom Hannafin, who, by the way, is from the Philly area, calls Matthew Raywalt, quote, a stupid Chicago bald man. All I needed to hear. And
honestly, I wrote that down too. What a line. What a line. He said, you stupid Chicago bald man. I was like, oh, that's so mean. But also.
It's accurate. It's fantastic.
When you're right, you're right.
That's right. Anyway, grit your teeth and GYV wins. I'm assuming that Cody Diener is going to find a friend.
I was hoping he's going to find a friend tonight, but okay. So first of all, I think I've talked about this when I very, very first started this show, how I liked the Dieners. And for a hot moment, I thought we were getting cool, fun, wow, cool, drunk Diener again. And then he just got beat up. These people don't like you. I agree. These people don't like you. But who's going to be his friend? You kind of spent the better part of a year and some change beating people up to try to make them join your cult and lose. So who are you going to get? I believe in Joe Hendry.
That's later. We're going to talk about that. It's very weird. Nick Nemeth is interrupted by Alex Shelley. Shelly says, I beat the system once, or at least I almost did, except for Kushida, who threw in the towel. And I'm like, seriously, you're still on this, eh? Okay. And then Nemeth, this is interesting. Nemeth is like, hey, how about when I win the world championship at Rebellion, you get first crack at the world title? And then Shelly's like, why wait? And Nemeth is like, okay. Nemeth is basically all of us in that moment. You're being offered a free title shot, and your immediate reaction is, nah, let's just do it next week. Very confusing.
I mean, I don't know. Shelly's giving, I just broke up with my girlfriend. I'm living dangerously. So what? I woke up and washed my mouth with whiskey. Do you want to fight now? We could fight after I win for the title. No, I want to fight you now. And my friends, they kind of suck. The friends standing right behind me like, yo, what the hell? Like, I like it. It's a rebel without a cause, though. Does that make sense? It's kind of a rebel without a cause. Like, if you're that mad at Kushida, have a one-on-one with Kushida instead of arguing. Your friends argue all the time, B. Sometimes you just got to go one-on-one with your friend, dap it up, and have a beer. Look at the bar. They literally fought for months. And then it's like, why are we fighting? I don't even know. You want to fight together? Yeah. Sometimes you got to fight your friends.
It's a toddler mentality, and it's very strange.
Yeah. Not a toddler, but like right above a toddler. Well, I don't like Susie because Susie smells bad. Susie right behind you, like,
what did you say?
I didn't say anything. Only a loser would be spying on other people's conversations, Susie.
and like, I see chat being like, Shelly's definitely turning heel during this match. That's fine. That's great. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I'm not going to spoil anything, but they're leaving.
He did say that. He said that like 10 minutes ago.
They're leaving. It's very strange. And I guess, listen, you got to play up to the people who maybe don't know, but at the same time, it's like you're kind of kicking those who do know right in the dick. And that's fine if your name is Adam Copeland, but like, you can't do that to everyone.
Yo, I saw that match. It's crazy how you said I quit when it was going above your head and not for the yam bags. Wow! Deflated yam bag. Oh, I don't even. Ooh. Okay, next match. Ooh.
I'll tell you this much. I spent the entirety of that Dynamite yelling, kick him in the dick.
I mean, yes, but also
I got my wish.
He did more than kick him in there. You should have wore a cup. And the first time it happened, I was just thinking, you should have wore a cup.
This is the one time where Christian should have turned to Taz and said, Taz, my balls. And Taz would have been like, I know, buddy. Should have wore a cup.
Well, I guess he won't be fathering any more children.
You never was in the first place. They're all adopted. I did this bit already like 20 years ago. Josh Alexander defeats Tracy Williams. It's good to see Hot Sauce back, if not back in TNA, but back in a wrestling ring. I haven't seen him a lot in wrestling lately, so it's really good. Pre-match promo, Josh Alexander puts over the city of Philadelphia, says it's had great moments, great adversity, yada, yada. And they say Santino Marella gave him an open challenge contract for tonight, and he challenges Alexander Hammerstone. Hammerstone's not there. Tracy Williams comes out, and they have a great back and forth match. They do a spot with a DDT on the top ring buckle from Williams, and that's so good and so effective. Tracy Williams is really hard-hitting submission, which I really appreciate that. He's going after Josh Alexander until Alexander hits a C4 spike, gets the win, to the surprise of nobody, but Alexander putting on a banger match at least gets him closer to that Rebellion match, because afterwards, Josh Alexander shakes Tracy Williams' hand, raises it up, Hammerstone blindsides both men and attacks them. Cresta star the match and the Hammerstone attack.
I had never heard of or seen Tracy Williams until this moment, and I would love to see him more. He is so good. That was a really good match. And personally speaking, Josh Alexander is getting to that point with me where if you can't have a good match with Josh Alexander, maybe it's you, bro. That match was so good for no reason on a random Thursday. So good. I knew Alex Hammer. I knew you would show up, you jerk. You are a jerk. Why didn't you come out and answer the open call? That C4 spike at the end, gnarly, nasty. I hope that I hope that we see more of Tracy Williams going forward. He looked like he would fit in old school ECW. Not even thinking about it. He's so good. So good. I don't know what we're gonna do with Hammerstone. Because part of me is like, Hammerstone is so big. I wouldn't mind. Alexander like putting him over, like beat him clean.
Could be happening. They got a third match. They've got a rubber match coming up.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it. Alex Hammerstone is a star, baby. So is Josh Alexander. But if Josh Alexander ever wanted to take time off and not be the standard bearer of TNA, Alex Hammerstone is a wonderful person to, go to Disney World. You know what I mean? Alex, you and Jay Chung, y'all take y'all children to go to Disney World. Having you a good time.
Well, the whole thing with Alexander is that if he does take time off, he's still the heart and soul of the company.
Yeah.
But someone like Hammerstone running roughshod, being like, I ripped out the heart of TNA. Yeah. That's a good thing you can work on and have Hammerstone eventually win a world championship and have Alexander come around to beat him for it. Because you could
That's exactly what I was getting at. Yeah.
You can have Nemeth win the world title and Hammerstone be next in line and then come back around to Alexander next round again. That would be fun.
That'd be really good. No, I agree with what you said 100%. Because no. There's two hearts in there. The heart of the X Division, I low-key feel is Speedball. Because he's just like, he's always there. But Josh Alexander, absolutely in this moment, much like Eddie Edwards was for a very long time, the heart and soul of TNA, now Josh Alexander is.
Well, speaking of the X Division, Mustafa Ali is backstage with Santino. He's got the cover of PW. Now, this is the funny thing. I've said this before on the show. I read the spoilers for all the tapings. I cover the spoilers as well. And I knew about the PWI cover because he comes out with a big blown up version of the PWI cover during the tapings. Okay, I'm not spoiling anything. He already showed you it's going to happen more than once. And then, of course, Ali is sitting on social media being like, I've got a huge announcement on the March 28th or March 27th, whatever it was. And everyone's like, what's the huge announcement? What's the big announcement? What could it be? Oh, my God. And then he unveils it's the PWI cover. And I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. I knew this last week.
Ooh.
I saw this last week.
So you had the scoops.
The city of Philadelphia had the scoops. I just didn't know what Ali's big announcement was because it could have been a new date with like another company. It could have been another like a big New Japan title match or whatever. Like he's working Windy City Riot, but like regardless, didn't expect it to be that. Anyway, he's backstage, he's showing off the PWI cover, and he doesn't believe that Jake Something is qualified. Once again, they do the no limits joke. They ask, what is Something hiding with a name like Something? It's very funny, very comedic, but it's very like serious Ali. And of course, Santino Marella being Santino Marella. Anyway, Santino mentions Rhino. And of course, if you say his name, then he appears. I don't F with the Rhino is what I'd probably say in that regard. And he challenges Ali to an old school rules match. Speaking of ECW, non-title. What do you think of this match? No, what do you think of this segment? Because it's not a match. The match is next week.
Honestly, so Rhino getting cheated out of his boots. Let's start there. Secondly, this man.
Hold on. It's old school rules, so anything goes. That's how it works. You're in Philly, the home of ECW. You go ahead. You go hardcore.
That's true, but I don't think that it'll be fair that the good hands who are still trying to get in the good graces of Ali will be there to cheat. They'll get a gore for their troubles, but Ali will pick up the pin. I do like him like, yo, bro, Jake Something? What is a name like that? This, I love a good chicken shit. I do. I wish I was watching wrestling when JBL would potentially get counted out because this is what I'm here for. This is, you're campaigning before the match even starts about, he's too big and this is ridiculous. It is out of order. So it's kind of like, that's crazy, Ali. What you gonna do when you try to challenge someone like a Josh Alexander or Alex Hammerstone for the main event scene? Because I know that's where this is going. What you gonna do then? You gonna campaign? I'm here for it. This is such good shit, pal.
Speaking of both men you just mentioned, Jonathan's super chat saying Josh putting over Hammerstone would be the best because Josh might not re-sign once his extension is up. Got to build the next top guy. It's a good point. You've got a year of Josh though. You have an entire calendar year, so you could still get one last big thing out of him, whether that's a run or a title match or a title run. That's going to be up to creative. And also, Josh could still re-sign. Something could happen between now and the end of the contract that keeps him around. I understand that Scott D'Amore was a huge reason for a lot of these talents to stick around, but who knows where they'll be in a year. Could be better, could be the same, could be worse. But as of right now, that's just kind of where we're at with Josh. That was wonderful.
What? Did you hear that? I muted. I thought I muted.
Yeah, you muted. I just saw it as I threw to you and I noticed you were in the midst of it.
Sometimes you got to get it out. Don't pay rent. No, I don't hate the idea what you had said earlier about Alex Harrison running roughshod. It's one of those things that if you do take out Alexander, he's such a beloved figure in TNA that no matter who it is going to be a star. I still believe in that for Steve Maclin. You could do a heel versus heel, and you could have Hammerstone absolutely destroy Steve Maclin, who has a compelling story, and you could do a face turn on Maclin. Someone who's been busting their butt, who's been owed a rematch from Josh Alexander. To have someone like Hammerstone take out Alexander, I'd be pissed as hell too. You know, this was supposed to be my match. You come out of nowhere. Screw you, guy. I could see it. I think there's plenty of ways for it to go. And I really do hope Josh Alexander resigns. However, I can understand. Sometimes you don't want to always eat McDonald's. Sometimes you want Burger King. Sometimes
you want to work on the G1. And sometimes you want to take that money and spend it on FightfulSelect.com, the best $5 in the business, baby.
That's a good segue.
Thank you very much. Fightful Select, we have our Discord up, red and running, and it's fun, and it's there. There's an In the Weeds Discord. That's where I spend my time because I host a show on Fightful Overbooked, our sister channel called In the Weeds, where we talk about wrestling, and we talk about life, and we talk about all the stuff, and we interview wrestlers. Chris Masters was on this past week. Good times. We also have tons of news and scoops for you. AJ Francis signing a deal with TNA through the rest of the year. FightfulSelect.com. You want Mustafa Ali contract updates? He's still a free agent. FightfulSelect.com. You want a live Q&A with Sean Ross Sapp from today? FightfulSelect.com. Sour Graps, and of course, WrestleMania is around the corner, so all the scoops will be there, along with the exclusive content that you so richly deserve and need. And I mentioned the Discord. Get in there. You want Sean to answer your question before the Q&A? It's on the Discord, and Sean's active there, and I'm active there, and all the staff and all the pals are active there. Best $5 in the business. FightfulSelect.com. What are you waiting for? That's like a junior chicken at McDonald's, right? They $5 now? I don't know.
Not me being muted. I don't know. Everything is so expensive now. Wasn't it like $1? It actually is like $5 for a McChicken.
It's like a McPix or whatever. They got a drink and a fries.
They got me McFucked up. That's what they got me. Should be $3.
Edward Edwards takes on Speedball Mike Bailey and beats him with a little bit of help from the system. Myers and Lish are involved. Referee gets distracted. Myers holds up Speedball, but Trent Seven makes a save. Then they do a back and forth until Edwards hits the Boston Knee Party for the win. This match was great. Not just because Edward Edwards and Speedball have great chemistry, but also because Cresta Star. What have I said about Speedball for the longest time? What have I wanted from him more than anything in the world? A mean streak. I got really sick of the audio being dead.
I'm sorry. I had to think, and the only thing I was like, carrots? I know that's not accurate, but that's the only word that came in my head.
That's for sure what I wanted from Speedball Mike Bailey was carrots. I wanted him to be a giant bunny. Happy Easter to everyone.
Carrots. I do love a good raw carrot.
Awesome.
I was thinking like Kenny King is somewhere like, y'all finally see who I'm talking about. This guy is an asshole. I don't like him. I mean, honestly, you got to be mean, though, to deal with the system. The system was cheating so much, I forgot Trent Seven was out there with Speedball. Like, that's how bad it is. These are well-documented cheaters. The chest chops, I personally thought Eddie Edwards beat the crap out of Speedball this whole match. Speedball got in some offense, yeah, but there was a nasty mean streak to Eddie Edwards tonight. I'm not even upset about it. The Ultimo weapon missing clean and him landing on both of his knees, I was like, oof, that's it. That's it. That's worse than any cheating. That was worse than any cheating, I think. I don't know what we're going to do here. The system is really annoying, but you need like an Honor No More. And I can't believe I'm a professional Honor No More hater, but you need a Bullet Club or something to deal with these guys. Because they're kind of the worst in a good way. Like, this is a great heel faction. When everything negative I'm saying about them is a compliment, they're the worst. They're great at cheating. These guys are jerks. And to go against them, even in a tag, you have to have 1 million people. And you need a girl, unless you're Matt Cardona and you don't mind, Bully Ray, you don't mind just hitting women. You know what I mean?
Listen, it was just a sack rider. It wasn't anything big.
And some people are like, well, I'm not hitting the girl. And like, honestly, there are some girls in wrestling. I'm like, yo, this person is a notorious pot stirrer. Love Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley needs to get body slammed. Love Alicia Edwards. Needs to get body slammed. You guys are always stirring the pot. I felt that way about Vicky Guerrero for a long time. Like, love you. You need to get body slammed because you know what you're doing. And Maria Kanellis too, but Maria Kanellis will take the bump. So
You will. I say this frequently, and I agree with you. The system works.
it works.
Yeah, pardon the pun. It does, because it's 4 characters who are already disliked, and they get to keep doing it and be there's no like, oh, we kind of like him because they're kind of cool heels. No, they're not. They're not cool at all. They are just 4 bad people. And it works. I can't say bad guys because you got Lish and she's,
I mean, that's very, there are 4 bad people.
It's 4 bad people. Great wrestlers. It's bad people.
And you genuinely don't feel bad if they get beat up. And like, again, no matter who beats them, you go like, yes, oh my God, I'm sick of this guy. I'm sick of this Moose fella. I'm sick of this Eddie Edwards fella. I'm so sick of him. I kind of want Lish to win the Knockouts Women Champions. I want it for maximum chaos. I want Jordynne Grace to get cheated out of her boots. I just want it. I want that more than anything in the world. Let's be like, yo, we are sick of the system. I don't care how it works. You Santina Marella, come now.
Listen, no offense to Alicia Edwards. We've talked about her a lot. And I actually really like her as a wrestler, and I actually really like her as a human being. When she came out in her gear wearing a t-shirt, I thought to myself, when did Lish wrestle? And then I realized she was in the 841. Because the 841, she was out in the first, she wasn't part of the 4-way. Yeah, she was in the 8, and she was probably like number 8 out of 8. I was just kind of like, oh, she was in that match. Okay. That was it. She's a wonderful addition to the system. And like we said, when they did that one rundown segment where they're all going after their accomplishments, and Lish is just like, and Lish, and that's it. That's all it is right now for her. And that's okay, because she actually is doing really well as like the manager and as the distraction for the system. And that's fine. Her time will come again. We talked about the Knockouts title match she had with Trinity way back at Victory Road. That was the first gimmicky comedy schmozzy match that Trinity had in TNA, or in Impact as it was at the time. And it served its purpose for Trinity's development in Impact. There's room for Lish again. It's just not right now.
I think this is the best presentation of her that I've seen since I started watching TNA. It is exactly like you said, that it's that perfect valet manager. I'm annoying, I'm cheating. And much like Maria Kanellis, who, like, there are certain women in professional wrestling who do that valet role really well. Zelina Vega, obviously I know I was going to say her, Maria Kanellis, and even Lish. Oh, I'm going to be a piece of crap, but I'm also going to take the bump. I'm also going to take the bump. Like, I like Rhea Ripley, but like, bro, you always stand in the way for the Judgment Day. Now Jack's got a big boot you or something. Like, you gotta take the bump at some point. It has to pay off. Even Dixie Carter took the bump.
And they spent weeks telling you about it. PCO, by the way, some reason he wants a Monsters Ball match with Khan. Don't know why. Seems to be repeating it, so we're gonna do that. I know why we're doing it. Yeah,
so
he's
gonna say one thing.
Yes, his brain cell is focused on a Monsters Ball match with Khan. I'm fine. I'm for it. Let's do it. Have these two men beat the crap out of each other. Let's go.
I'm gonna say what I always say. I'm not excited for this match. After I see the match, wow, what a great match.
Yeah. Kazarian's backstage talks about Bible verses and beatdowns for Eric Young at Rebellion. He calls himself the King of TNA, and I say bring on the King of the Mountain match that you're going to do inevitably. And then Chris Bay steps up, challenges him to a match next week. Kazarian accepts, and then he's like, oh, good line about the slides. And I thought that was just so funny and so stupid. So Kazarian and Bay next week.
My religious trauma.
I'm a Jew. Nothing really got through to me on that one.
I mean, he said it, and then my brain just said, I'm not listening anymore. Yeah, the only Bible verses, I don't know anything about John 3:16, but Austin 3:16 just says I whipped your ass. So that's the only Bible verse I know.
New TNA signee AJ Francis is out with Rich Swann, who's been around Impact for the last few years. They cut a promo. They call themselves First Class. That's the new name of their group, I guess, tag team, whatever. listen, this was a lot to get to a point, which was AJ Francis being like, yeah, I recruited Rich Swann, and then Rich Swann being like, yes, Joe Hendry stole the spotlight from me, and then I used to have fire, and AJ brought it back. But there's one line that AJ Francis says, and I'm like, I don't know if this really works. He says, pretty women with pretty eyes, thick thighs, and the first class flights. And I'm like, are the women on the flights? What are we doing? What do the women have to do with the flying?
He's saying that these beautiful women surround him, but they don't get on the flights with him because women are dumb and we don't respect them. Ben, I'm assuming. Don't. Oh my God, someone's gonna clip that.
I'm so excited for them to come after you for that.
You know what? As a directly affected party, I think I'm allowed.
Really? Well, I mean, I guess it's okay.
Listen, I get told all the time that while simultaneously knowing nothing about wrestling, I only got this job because I'm an AI bot who slept around to get here. So, we all got our cross to bear.
So, for those who don't know, by the way, First Class is also Dalla's first EP. That was the name of his first EP. So he dug deep for that.
I respect it. There's a lot of integration with wrestlers and the crossover with music. Chris Bay, not Rich Swann, Chris Bay, Swerve, Mercedes. I feel like I'm missing one other person. On
Kurt
a low,
Hennig.
who? Kurt Hennig?
Kurt Hennig. Oh,
Me and Man
1999.
Hogan.
1999 WCW Rap is Crap. Let's go, baby. West Texas Rednecks. They love country
Not the
music.
Macho Man.
They love
be a
country
Man
girls.
Hogan.
They love everything. Don't forget about Merle. Talking about Merle Haggard. There's only one thing that I hate because it's a bunch of crap. I hate rap. Go back and just go.
I shan't be doing that.
It was a time.
I will say, I hope that Rich Swann being so likable puts a better taste in people's mouth about AJ Francis. I'm all here for the underdog winning and all that good stuff, but I think people are just hating on AJ Francis now because it's the thing to do. It's giving we're booing Cody because we like to boo Cody. I don't think he's doing that bad. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't think he's doing that bad. Am I missing something?
Conan also used to rap. He did the Filthy Animals rap in WCW.
That's not what I asked you, Joel. So I'm missing something. Thank you so much for your expert commentary.
No, listen, all is fine. I have no problems with Top Dollar. I wish he would do my show because doing everyone else's show, Jeremy Lambert just wants to battle rap him for charity, but Dollar's too busy talking about First Class and all that.
He's a Cheezer champion. He's very busy. He has to go fill his Cheezer obligations.
I ain't seen him with that belt in a while. Regardless, Dollar's got a new teammate. And it's going to be fine. And you know what? You talk about other tag teams splitting up. This is one that might actually, go the distance. Or not.
I don't know. Listen, while I don't see the AJ Francis hate, I do think for him to leave in a situation where he was in a tag team to go back into a situation where he's going to be in a tag team, I think it'd be better for him if he didn't. That's just me.
I will say this. AJ Francis is actually a really good dude, a really good wrestler, and a hard worker. And I think the people who have problems with him may just be rubbed the wrong way by his attitude, because sometimes he's abrasive, but really he's just a fun guy. Like I personally have had nothing but positive interactions publicly and privately with him. So I don't know where the hate comes from. I think some people are just kind of stuck in the how he was treated and how he acted in WWE mentality. And those people just have nothing else on their minds but that. That's fine.
Hyperbole.
Pretty much. It's kind of anyway. Dex Baker sent a super chat saying, cheated out of their boots is a phrase I say constantly because of this show. And that's basically what First Class will do, is cheat you out of their boots.
It's such a good phrase because, when there are some people, when you go to wrestle against them, AJ Francis in this situation and Rich Homie Swann, I know you're going to cheat me out my boots. Wrestling against Jeff Jarrett, I know you're going to cheat me out my boots. The Bloodline, I know you're going to cheat me out my... Get out. Nah. You want to run in. Rangar, Bully Ray, definitely going to cheat me out of my boots.
That's right.
Now I got every flavor bean on screen. That's what you get for cheating out your boots. Next match. Now she's going to stay here because I've had it with her.
She's going to start going after your microphone in a sec. It's going to be great. Tom Hannafin interviews Laredo Kid. It's a good piece. I hope that this could be the first luchador that actually starts winning matches in TNA, Cresta Star. What do you think about Laredo Kid getting
I thought about that too. I'm like, why y'all interviewing him and y'all know you're not about to make him win? Don't do that. Don't do that. It was very compelling. It was very well put together. I didn't know that he almost lost his life after that match with El Hijo de Vikingo. I'm like, okay, but y'all are doing this, so he's gonna win, right? Right?
Maybe not. We'll see. But I do like that they're putting some emphasis on him because they at least make you want to believe that he could win.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta, I believe. I don't know what I believe. Oh, I've been seeing it in chat too, and also have it in my notes. FBI is coming next week. I don't know who those people are.
So I didn't really want to bring up the FBI return because I wanted to wait to get your reaction next week because I know I know what happens and I know the deal and I don't want to bring it up, but yes, they're going to be there. For those who don't know, FBI were a very popular stable in ECW back in the 90s. And this is a couple of them coming back and maybe some new blood as well. So regardless, I didn't want to bring it up. It was also like a shots of New York, FBI is coming. Like
I feel like I'm gonna be disrespected. It's gonna be very 1980s. Hey Tony, I'm from New York, Brooklyn. Hey. I'm like,
not so much. No, and as a New Yorker yourself, you'll probably get it.
Okay, as long as it's not a New York. I would hate to have to get offensive.
I mean, listen, it's very Brooklyn, but you'll see that they're fine.
I'm already offended.
Main event time. Get your super chats in as we get to the home stretch. Steve Macklin defeats Chris Sabin, and I swear to God, every time this happens, I see it. Chris Sabin is the only person in TNA ever whose intro video gets shown on like the full screen. And I don't understand why it's just him. It's this, I don't get it. Anyway, this match is really good. It's expected to be good. It was going to be good. Macklin and Sabin have great chemistry. They go out and they work. And then the conversation I'm picking up from earlier, Macklin gets the win. He beats Chris Sabin. We know Sabin's leaving. We know Shelly's leaving as well. Macklin is still up in the air. He's got a little bit more time on this contract. So I'm happy that Macklin got the victory. But this is, again, still a very weird situation that TNA finds themselves in. Let's talk about the match. It's good stuff. Are we rebuilding Macklin in case he sticks around for a little bit longer to have another match with Nick Nemeth? Is that what we're thinking?
I would love to. I would hope so. I do think that Macklin does add a lot of value to TNA. They also had a lot of good chemistry. I would love to look at my notes, but Bully Ray has sat on them. So the cat is no longer in my lap, but now on my notes. So now I'm winging it at this point. So the commentary did put over that Chris Sabin has always beaten Steve Macklin. Steve Macklin has never beaten Chris Sabin in one-on-one competition. I'm trying to also fix my focus, y'all. Bear with me. So I think that, like you said, this match was already going to be a banger no matter what we did. So I'm happy. I hope Macklin stays around because, like I said, if this is a way where Hammerstone is now the running rough shot and you get a face turn on Macklin, I'd be interested to see how that would go. And Macklin versus Hammerstone, yes, please. Yes, please. If, like you said, I don't know, something could happen in the 11th hour. Motor City Machine Guns could stay. But if they're leaving, I don't think it's a bad way to lose on your way out to Macklin.
I agree. Because again, you got Macklin sticking around for longer. You've got Macklin who looks good regardless out of this. And Sabin takes the L on potentially his way out. He's got a few weeks left, but as of April 1st, that's the end of it. The Busaiku knee from Macklin. I got to talk about this for a second. I really liked that he hits the Busaiku knee on the outside. So that's a knee to the head. And then he rolls Sabin in. Sabin's selling it great. And then he goes right into the jar headbutt. That is so good. And it's so small, but I hit the head. I'm going to hit the head again. There's some really good just moments of psychology there, which are good. I'm not going to go too far, but I do like that they're starting to use the Mayhem for All as a finish. That's the deep looking Michinoku driver that looked really gross on Chris Sabin. And finally, Steve Macklin. Listen, Steve, I know you're listening. Can I call you Steve? I got to tell you, that Lope you've been doing, the Scud was what they're calling it. I think you have to stop trying it.
Yo, when he missed it, he ate so much shit. I felt so bad.
All he does with the scud is he just keeps eating shit. And if that's your heat spot, I get it. That's fine. Listen, between us, it's fine. But you got to stop doing it if you're just going to eat shits.
Maybe okay, maybe it's just real believable. You know what it is? You know, like how some wrestlers, you be like, damn, you dying. Maybe it's just really maybe he not. Like you said, maybe it's just the heat spot. Maybe he's just getting the heat. Maybe he's not eating shit. He's just a really good wrestler, and we believe he is.
Anyway, second time's a charm for Cotton Crosshairs. But I do like, again, going back to the psychology of the match and just the reverence and respect these two have for each other.
Mm-hmm.
The KIA gets turned into a good bridge suplex from Sabin.
That was really nice.
Yes, Macklin kicks right out and immediately goes to the second KIA, gets the win. I liked the finish of this match. It was so straightforward and so simple that two A+ wrestlers on this show can go out and have an A+ TV main event that has stakes, but they're not completely defined stakes. They're just trying to get closer to getting to the top of the TNA rankings that don't really exist, but realistically, let's just say that they do in this case. This was a match.
No, it was a solid match, and that is a blessing and a curse that TNA has, because I know no matter what match goes on, let me complain about PCO for 2 weeks. PCO will have a match like that crazy old bastard. That was such a good match. So not everything needs stakes, but because everything is so good, it's kind of like, I wish there were stakes, but how many belts can you have? Some of these people are just really good wrestlers, and TNA just happens to employ a lot of good wrestlers. Case in point with our main event.
We got less than a month until Rebellion. We'll be back next week, as we always do. We'll be covering the show. We'll be talking about it.
Will we?
Will you not be here?
I might be in Philadelphia for Wrestle.
Everyone's talking about being there. Listen, if I got to do it alone, I think that week, the week after WrestleMania, I'm doing the AEW post show. I'm doing this show. I'm doing the Friday SmackDown post show. I am doing In the Weeds Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of that weekend. I'm basically going to be more on this channel than you've ever seen.
It's Fightful with Joe Pearl. Step aside, Sean Ross. Listen, literally, everyone's going to go meet up besides Joe Pearl.
For that week, I'm going to change the name of this stupid YouTube channel. It's no longer going to be Fightful Wrestling with Sean Ross. It's going to be Fightful Wrestling with Joel Pearl. And people are just going to be like, who the hell is this guy? I'm going to be like, watch me, not Liv Morgan. Watch me. I got a note on the bottom of my notes saying, do your invoice. Anyway, Cresta Star, it's time to go out of here. So plug your stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for watching. Every Thursday, I am here with the, you know what? We're gonna do the cute point. Shut up. You're working right now.
That sounds.
She's a yeller. She's fine. Every Thursday, I am here with Joe Pearl. We go over all things with TNA. Every Saturday, for the most part, I'm over on Fightful again with Riccicino and not Joe Pearl. Jesus Christ, Iridian's going to kill me. Except this Saturday, where we're all going to be at WrestleMania, except for Joe Pearl, who's going to be Squidward staring out of the window while me and Patrick have fun. I just did an interview with Queen of the Ring where we talked about Goldberg, where we called him Oldberg, and then suggested he did OnlyFans and called him Holberg. So I want you guys to go ahead and check that out. Besides that, you can find me over on X at Cresta the Star, like Megan the Stallion, CRESTASTARR. There's a link tree in my bio where you can find all of this stuff. Bully Ray, say goodnight to everyone. Bully Ray's ignoring orders. Joe Pearl, where can they find you?
Yeah, that cat's so done with you right now.
She's pissed. She's pissed.
Like, get me the hell out of here. I'm easy to find. I just mentioned In the Weeds. That's over on Fightful Overbook. That's our sister station. Go and join that right now if you haven't already. And if you haven't left a thumbs up on the video, go ahead and do it. I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. I'm just go to Fightful Overbook. That's where I'm at. If I'm not here, then I'm on Overbook. So just go find me there, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Bye.